everyone. Let's get started with this webinar. If any one of you can please turn the video on, it would be really great and interacting for all of us, and we would really appreciate that. So I am Aditya Mohapatra, and I welcome you all to the rollout event of FailTell's Build Your Profile series. In the very first episode, we bring to you how to build your profile for a consulting firm. Team FailTell brings this webinar to you as a part of its Consulting Week celebration. Consulting as a domain is very lucrative, but unfortunately is difficult to get information about. Our counseling cum mental health awareness organization strives to create a happy and informed individual in each one of you. Our product is a unique combination of storytelling, career mentoring, life coaching, and mental wellness. We believe every individual is built for greatness, and we have made it our responsibility to make sure there is no information barrier or lack of motivation which deters anyone. Without further delay, we would love to get started with the webinar. I would like to invite our guest speaker for the evening, Mr. Somesh Gupta. Mr. Somesh here presently works as a senior consultant in BCG. Prior to that, he has worked for ZS Associates as an associate consultant. He holds a PGDM from SPJIMR and did his BTech from IIT Varanasi. We are pleased to have his presence among us here today. Please give a huge round of virtual applause.
Thank you, Aditya, and good evening, everyone. Great to see you all here, or a few of you who I can see. So yes, that was my professional introduction. BTech and MTech dual degree actually from IIT Varanasi, post which I worked at ZS Associates, was based out of Pune, and after which I did my MBA from SPJIMR Mumbai, majoring in marketing and minoring in consulting. And now, yes, working as a senior associate in BCG. A bit on a personal side, I love to read. I love to travel, as any consultant would tell you. You have got to love traveling if you are consulting. I also like cooking. Yes, that's one thing that I do. And I try to meditate in my free time. So those are the few things. Born and brought up in Chhatarpur. It's a town many of you may not have heard about. It's in MP. And but yes, I've been out of Chhatarpur for like 10, 12 years now, traveling Varanasi, Pune, Mumbai, and now based out of Gurgaon. So yeah, that's a bit more about me, and you will get to know more about me, my professional side, and a bit about personal side as we go into the webinar. So yes, looking forward to interacting with you all. Over to Aditya.
Thank you very much, Somesh. I'm sure we are all very excited to hear from you. And we'll get started with the webinar now. And before starting, we request you all to please fill the attendance sheet that will be shared to you via a link at the end of the event. It will be shared on your Zoom chat. We'll be starting with the webinar, and we request you all to please keep forwarding your questions to the WhatsApp group that you have been allocated. And at the end of the webinar, we'll take the best questions and ask them to Mr. Somesh here. If you could share the screen, the PPT. So we have basically decided to focus on 4 main agendas for today's discussion, and the questions will be revolving around those agendas. Those 4 keywords are what is most essential for you to help develop your profile and land a good consulting job. So can we have the next slide, please? I think the systems hang. Yes. So our very first agenda is, of course, skills, which is the most important part in landing a job. The first question to you, Mr. Somesh, is what do you think are the resources that we can use to develop these skills be it online, be it offline, any kind of, what are the resources that we can use, and what are the various criteria that the candidates are judged upon in the interviews or the written rounds?
As most of our audience or the people attending here are in engineering undergrad or in their undergrad days, so I would say that it starts right from there. So what happens in consulting when you apply for a consulting job, what they look for is, of course, stellar profiles. But what does that word stellar means? How would you classify a stellar profile to uh, as against an otherwise profile? So what happens is when they look at your profile, they see where are the spikes. And by spikes, I mean where you have created the most impact. For instance, if you have worked in a fest wherein you have managed, let's say, a budget of 20 lakhs, or you have worked with a team of 50 coordinators, 50, 60 people you have managed, and that fest is well recognized, well known. So that would be something that will set you apart. So how many such people would have worked in such a fest, right? So getting such an experience would essentially sort of bring out that highlight. Now, this kind of highlight can either be in academics. For instance, let's say you have consistent academics. You were a topper in 10, then you were a topper in your college, then so on and so forth. That could be one. Then your co-curricular activities could be one. You have taken a lot of leadership responsibilities throughout your undergrad, and sorry, and you have done basically you have done something that positions you as a leader, right? So that could be a co-curricular. Other thing could be if you have done a lot of competitions, you have published papers, you have spoken at international seminars, like that. These are things that also add value to your profile. Sorry, over to you, Aditya.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that was very enlightening to everyone.
So I'm not sure, Aditya, if this was the thing. If there's very specific you want me to talk about, I can talk about it. I believe the question was mostly around how should a profile look like. Is that correct?
Yes. We just wanted to understand the way, like, maybe you can talk a little about the interview process, or the process, or all the stages of the process, and what are the criteria that a candidate should have in them in order to, bag those roles.
Right. So I can talk about my experience. I can talk about my experience with ZS and BCG. Let me start with BCG first. If anyone has any specific question on ZS, we can cover that. So in BCG, what happens is that uh, you, through an MBA college, your CV gets submitted. So that's the first step. It gets reviewed, and then they shortlist. Of course, the people that they shortlist will be creme de la creme, because they look for such kind of spikes. If you have, and everyone, the entire college applies for consulting firms like BCG, McKinsey, Bain. After which they give you they assign a buddy to you. That buddy helps you in preparing for cases. Now, one thing that you need to know about consulting interviews, that they are case-based interviews. So by case-based, I mean what they do, and I'm not sure how much you guys are aware about case-based interviews. It will be something like this. There'll be an interviewer, there'll be interviewee, and interviewer will come. There won't be any sort of HR questions that what are your strengths and weaknesses. They will simply ask you a question. For instance, this can be a question that a client has come to you, and the problem that client is facing is profit loss in profit for like past 5 years. Can you help figure out the problem and make a solution? Now, this is very open-ended question. Now, there are ways to tackle such questions. There are ways that how do you break down that question in most logical steps? How do you engage the client? Basically, how do you ask them the relevant question, get the relevant information from the client, and then figure out the solution? And that you have to do in the interview. There are typically 3 to 4 rounds of the interview. Initial interview are with the project leaders, and as you move up the ladder, final interview generally happens with a partner. And before the interview, a buddy is assigned, like I said, and the buddy helps you in preparing for the process. So this is how the consulting interview process looks like.
Thank you, Somesh. I believe that answered their question. And the concept of open-ended question is something that I'm sure they will be taking away from this and preparing accordingly if they want to crack a consulting interview job. Coming to my next question, what do you feel are all the points, or how exactly do we add weightage to the resumes that we submit there? And what can we specify in the interview to have a better impact?
Right. So I'll start with so I've covered a part of first question earlier as well, that if you take up more leadership roles, or if you take up roles wherein you can portray the impact. It can be your work experience, it can be your co-curricular activities, it can be your academics, it can be any other miscellaneous events or things that you do in your life. Basically, they look at a holistic profile, right? And your work and your academics are just one part of it. What consulting wants are people who are very holistic. They just don't want people who are very stellar in academics but do not have life outside academics. Okay, so that is first thing. Second thing is build your profile in a way so that it's very diverse. Okay, you need to show that you are a capable leader. And how will you show you are a capable leader at an undergrad? Participate in your festivals, do some voluntary work, get associated with organizations. The organization where you think you'll get to do work, which if it's put on your CV, it will look good. It will convey that part of being a leader, right? And similarly, talking about academics, obviously, I won't comment on academics, while it is a very important part, but that is to each his own. In terms of WorkX, yes, if you have a consulting WorkX, by consulting, I mean firms like after engineering, you can land a direct job with firms like Deloitte, or let's say KPMG, or let's say ZS, or maybe sort of analytics firms, which we call it, like Accenture and all. That helps a lot, because after that, when you apply to BCG, they know that you are coming from a certain background. You have seen a part of consulting. It's not, ZS is not management consulting exactly, but a management consulting, getting a job in BCG. Sorry, someone has raised a hand. I don't know whether we are taking it or not, but I'll just continue with my answer. Getting into BCG will become much easier, or you'll be valued more if you have had such kind of jobs earlier.
Thank you. Thank you, Somesh. And so I think the main things that we can pick up here are the leadership roles and the responsibilities that we need to take up in order to enhance our profile. And obviously, having a background in consulting firms, even if it is not in the consulting domain specifically, does help your candidature. People, I would like to remind everyone that we will be taking all the questions in the end, and the questions won't be in the form of raising hands and asking them. It will be in the form of you sending us questions in WhatsApp, not even in the Zoom chat or a direct message to anyone over Zoom. You can only send your questions over WhatsApp, and we will be curating and asking the best questions from that. I hope this is clear. Thank you very much. So we can move to the next slide now. Yes. So the next slide is expectations. And in general, we'll be talking about what to expect during our initial days in the consulting industry. So, Somesh sir, I would like to ask you, what roles are offered for a BTech student in a consulting firm right now?
For a BTech student, I think so yeah, I think that's the question. It's been put up on chat by Sagat as well. First of all, McKinsey, BCG, Bain goes to a very specific colleges. So generally, people from undergrad do not join these firms. If at all they do, they start at associate level. So let me first explain the hierarchy of how the hierarchy of consulting firms. So there is, or at least let me talk about BCG. There is associate, there is senior associate, then there is consultant, then there is project leader, principal, partner, and MDP. Right? Partner and MDP are same for all intents and purposes. So when you join through an MBA college, you join at a senior associate level. When you join from an undergrad college, you join at an associate level. And coming to your other question, how to expect? Well, that's an interesting one. Let me tell you this: consulting life is not easy. It's a difficult job. It's a really difficult job because you are expected to manage so many things at once, and they just throw you out in a field. It's There's a often quoted saying in consulting that consulting is a job that is best learned while you are on the job. So that is absolutely true. No one can coach you for that, and the good thing about consulting is also the bad thing, right? They say it's a very generalist profession. You can go to you get to work in multiple industries. You get to work in financial services. You get to work in industrial good. You get to work in consumer good. You get to work in social impact practice area as well. But also, you may not be comfortable with all of it. Like for instance, if your first case can be any case. I'm currently working in social impact practice area. I have zero experience of working in social impact practice area and education background, and that's the case I'm working on right now. And it just requires a lot of coordination, a lot of people skills. You just have to be on your feet all day. There's a lot of travel involved, and there are just multiple time deadlines that you just have to meet, because if there's a client request, it has to be done, and a lot of weekend work. So I won't sugarcoat my answer. Consulting is a difficult job, but yes, it has perks as well. The learning that you have is very fast. You get to work with very smart people. You get to learn from the best of the best, and you get exposure in very early days of your career. Like you get to work. I'm currently working with vice chancellor and chancellor of a university, and you get that kind of exposure so early on in your career, which I think is not there in other sets of job. If you go for, let's say, marketing, or you go for product management, these kind of jobs. So that is there. If you like traveling, great. Consulting is a job for you, because there you are in for a ride. There is a lot of travel. Thirdly, currently it's not happening because of COVID. And thirdly, in terms of perks, yes. I mean, what else? This is all you need. Like learning, initial push, working with the best of the people, and making your network. And this is all you get in consulting. And that is why I think people choose consulting in the beginning of their career.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure that, despite it being so difficult, the high learning curve, I'm sure, makes it worth it to join this domain and to work in this sector. And yeah, like Somesh mentioned, it's best learned while on the job. So, whatever, yes, Shruti Jain rightly says, it's a very insightful answer. And we are happy to have got it
Thank
from
you,
you.
Shruti.
So coming to, yes.
Sorry, just to add, I'm not dissuading anyone. I'm just portraying a right picture. Do not be dissuaded by the fact that it is a difficult job, because you have got to do this difficult job to get that sort of initial push in your career. And that is what consulting prepares you for. So basically, I'm just laying down all the cards in front of you, and so that you can make an informed choice. This is my job here, to just give you the right picture, the true picture, and then you can take a call whether consulting is for you or it's not for you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that is what the audience here expects also. And coming to our next question, do you think we should be proficient in some kind of software skills, or like Excel, SQL, Python, etc.? And is there any training program for the new joiners in the company?
No. So like I said, consulting is best learned on the job. So training is very minimal. Yes, there will be support. There will be support for learning software such as, basically, first of all, there are online resources, there are sessions, but there is no dedicated training. Like in some companies, there are 1 month of induction, the induction lasts for 1 month, entire month. But that is now not how it is for consulting. It's just 1 week basic training. They will teach you basic Excel. They will teach you PPT making skill, presentation skill, business communication skills. They will also teach you Excel. They will also teach you Tableau and other such softwares. But see, what you need to understand is that working on a software or a tool is not the job here. The The job is to solve client's problem. Now, tools are just the means. So you may be required to work on Tableau one day, Excel the other day, Power BI the third day, and Click the fourth day. So what they expect of you is the learnability. You should be a fast learner. You should be able to pick up that tool, produce the output, and hand it over to the client. That is what is required. And I believe all these things can be learned pretty easily. You need not be a master of it. You just need to learn it to an extent so that your output gets delivered. Right? This is the extent to which these tools are required in consulting.
Thank you. Thank you, Somesh. Coming to our last question for the expectations round, like I think you have already mentioned this in a way that the working hours are actually a little bit longer, and that's what we have all heard and come to know. So are the new joiners also expected to stay those long hours along with the senior associates?
No, absolutely. From day one, you are expected to. So in consulting, there's a lot of ownership. You have to own your module. Like essentially, if you are given a module, by module I mean if you are given a task. So let me explain first the construct of how cases look like. So let's say a client comes to me saying that I have to reduce the costs of certain. Uh, let's take a simple example. I want to increase my revenues, and let's say your client is a retail grocery seller, right? So you can increase revenue by multiple things. Like you can focus on your groceries. You could focus on sort of what do you call it? Your toiletry stuff. You can focus on your let's say if it's a supermarket, you can focus on your linen, bed sheet, and all that. So these are the categories in which goods are divided. Okay, so let's say if I'm looking after the linen, bed sheet, and all that part. Now, if I have to recommend a strategy to a client, this module is mine. And these modules, module 1, module 2, module 3 gets divided amongst the team, which are associate and senior associate level, who do the on-ground. Now, these and the job of project leader is to interface with the client, manage their team, and to put together, to guide us, of course, and to put together the entire recommendation, synthesize it, and take it to the client. So project leader or manager is essentially the face of the project, right? So now if I'm given a module, I have to own the module. It's my responsibility to deliver the output. I have to get help. I have to get my PL to check my output every now and then, align with my PL that the direction in which I'm going is right or not. I have to define how that module will go. So if something is required in my module, nobody will come and help me unless I ask for it, right? And apart from this, there are ad hoc things. Like if client has some request, you obviously have to sort of just entertain because they are your client. You have to, if client has urgently asked something, you have to do it. So long working hours are there since day one, and you are expected to work for approximately 12 hours every day in consulting.
Thank you so much for this answer. And I think now we can move on to the next slide. Yes, here we would like to address your personal journey from campus to corporate, and your journey in the consulting industry specifically. We would like to understand how was the shift from technical to management. How tough was that for you, or how easy was that for you? Basically, here we want you to address your life at ZS and your work and responsibilities, perks, parties, travel opportunities, work culture, anything you want to talk about here.
Right. So I did my BTech and MTech in electrical engineering. So electrical engineering and consulting is not at all related. Everybody here would know that. Or any kind of engineering or consulting is not very directly related. After that, from campus, I landed a job at ZS as an associate. In ZS, ZS is a service consulting firm, first of all. So the clients are, we were the part of the offshore team. There's an onshore team which works with the client on a day in, day out basis, which is the front end consulting team, and we were the part of back end consulting team. So the team I was in ZS, my responsibility first was to sort of and I used to work for a pharmaceutical client, a pharmaceutical giant. My job was to sort of analyze the data, not exactly analyze, but we were in reporting team. So by reporting, I mean that we had to make reports wherein product performance, or in this case, drugs performance, market performance, such as revenue, market share, promotions, and all this is captured in a report and it gets delivered to the client. So our job was to operationalize it. There, I had to work on fixed set of tools like Excel and Tableau mainly, and I had to learn those tools because I need to know them in and out, because I need to operationalize and build those reports for the client like every day. So there was a very set cadence that in the morning the data will come, we will data will go through the ETL flow, it will get processed, then we will make the reports, we will QC the reports, we'll check the numbers, and we'll deliver it to the clients. This is what I did it at ZS for first couple of years. Then in the third year, when I got promoted, towards the end of third year, my job sort of, then I had few team members who I was looking after. My job was sort of manage my team members, make sure that reports go out on time, sort of one level above. The same job, but one level above, more managerial. Then after ZS, I left, I made a choice to do an MBA. I got a call from SPJMR. This was back in 2019. So, and in marketing, why marketing, you would say, because ZS was a sales and marketing firm, and what we used to do was not directly related to your FMCG marketing, but what we used to do was sort of ZS focuses on sales and marketing data only. So it was easy for me to make that choice and justify that I wanted marketing. So, and after that, yes, at SPJMR, 2 years of MBA, second year mostly virtual, which sucked, by the way. First year was great, was on campus. MBA life is also very hectic. I got I got placed in BCG quite early. I got an intern. I backed an internship at BCG. Let's say, sorry, could you give me a minute, please? Sorry for the interruption.
No issues.
Yes, MBA life is also hectic. Like you just do not get time. There are assignments, there are competitions to be done, there are cases to be read, there are so many pre-reads, and then there are back-to-back classes, and you just try to do a lot while you are on campus. So 1 year passed really quickly, and then in second year, I had the internship at BCG around October, November. SPJMR follows a very different sort of internship model. We have autumn internship rather than summer internship. So September, October, I had my internship at BCG, wherein it was mostly virtual. Again, I worked on a public sector case. It was a good case. For confidentiality purposes, I cannot reveal what the case was, but enjoyed it. Long working hours. Again, I got a flavor of it that it's gonna be that way. What I did not get to experience at that time was the client interaction part very much, because we were working virtually. That does not happen. And the difference today that I'm finding is when I'm going to client location every day, I just get to work very closely with them. Like on a day-to-day basis, it's like both of us are part of the same company. We work so closely with the client, and the traveling part and working from the client location. So that is that. And yes, perks, parties, yes, crazy parties. I've had a party yesterday only. It was sort of a case team outing. Had fun. Like if consultants work hard, they party harder. That's what it gets said. We are not getting a lot of opportunity because things have opened up right now, at least here in Gurgaon. So we can go out, but there are time restrictions. But obviously, you do not get to travel a lot. Like we are not doing many traveling cases right now. And what else is there? Let me just see. Work culture is very ferocious culture, I would say. Like there are crazy smart people who are working here, very ambitious people. Everybody is just sort of you just feel that sort of aura that you are working with the leaders. They're the true leaders of the corporate world or the business world, and that is the sense of that consulting. That is the panache that consulting holds for you. As they say, consulting is a glorious job. I think this is the glory they are talking about. I don't know what other glory that is. Uh, Travel is there, parties is there. You get case team outings. Earlier in pre-COVID world, we used to go out, and then there are offshore team outing, which typically happens in Goa. And yes, for training, you do go out to international stints as well. Because of COVID, we did not get the opportunity for that. But yes, that is also on the table. So all the perks for you. And if that makes sense to all of you, I think you should come to consult.
I'm sure a lot of them will, because talking about your journey here, that was not only inspiring, it was, the roller coaster journey that you experienced, the work hard and party harder, it's all about working hard, but it's also about, living what consulting provides you and, having that enjoyment. What is important to note here is, Somesh mentioned, he had a very close relationship with the client, and I guess that's paramount to be successful in the consulting industry, to be as close to your client and to have a as cultivated a relationship as possible with the client. So we would like to move to the next question here. A little bit about your journey in the industry in general. What are the major hurdles you faced in this industry? And if you are given a chance to talk to your younger self when you were a kid or when you were in the graduation, when IIT Varanasi, I guess, and give him advice on how he could have overcome those, what would those be?
Well, my answer wouldn't be related to consulting here, but if I would have given me an advice, then I would have done basically, I would have asked myself to attend sessions like these, because this is exactly the information that was missing for me back then. I did not have enough information to make a decision of even doing MBA. I decided to do an MBA while I was at CS, right? So I did not have any idea. It sort of panned out well for me, but I did not plan it out. It may seem like मैं सबको बोलता हूँ. It may seem ऐसा लगता है कि I had planned it out very well at first CS, then SCGMA, then BCG. But no, it did not happen. I did not decide to do MBA till the second year of my job, of my first job. So I would have given myself the advice that, dude, just pull up your socks and just get more information and find out what you want to do in life. Where do you want to go? So this is the advice I would give. And sorry, what was the first question?
Yeah. Your major hurdles that you faced in this industry upon joining.
Major hurdles. So I'm just 3 months old, first of all, in the consulting. So I don't know how relevant my answer would be. But managing so many people or coordinating with so many people, it requires a lot of people skill. So that I think you need to develop, and that I think that I'm learning. How do you coordinate with so many people? How do you manage expectations with the client? How do you quickly gather the data? Just bring out some insight from the data, put it on the PPT and just give it to the client. How do you manage that deadlines? These are the things that I'm learning. And how do you increase your speed to output? Right? How do you gain? But I think the latter part is maybe it will come with experience only. But yes, I would say if one thing I would have to give to you, I would say the people skills, managing stakeholders, clients. Yes.
Right. As it's a very client-facing job and you always have to be exposed to people, it's very important you develop the people skills and man management in order to.
Absolutely. And consulting, I know that there is a sort of a wrong notion associated with consulting that they take people with high IQ or high academics or this and that. No, I think if I were to give that answer today, I would say that your people skill should be really high if you are to survive in consulting or if you are to be here in the long run.
Definitely. Thank you. I'm sure the audience here will make a note of it and try to develop the skills before their interviews. We can move to the next slide, which talks exclusively about your life at BCG, although it's, as you have mentioned, been hampered a bit because of the virtual scenario going on. But still, we would like to talk to you about a few things, such as if you could shed some light on your life at BCG in particular, if you have, if there's anything that you haven't covered previously.
So I can
Be
give you how my day looks like. So I think that should be a good
Yes.
sort of sneak a peek into my life. So generally, what happens is, let me tell you about Monday, uh, the dreaded Mondays. So I just wake up at 7, and then at 8 we have a call. We have a team call wherein we present and align of what what are my what are my tasks for the week. We align it with our PL and our partner. We present it to them. They make some changes. They suggest something. They take some things out. They add a few things. After that, I just travel 1 hour to reach client location. I take first meeting from home virtually. Even in the cab, if there's something very urgent I need to work on, you just keep working on it. You make slides, you put together Excels. Then throughout the day, you just first you look at what are the tasks that are there for the day. You go speak to the client, coordinate with the client. If there's anything on priority, you deal with that first. You hold a few meetings with the stakeholders. If there is some report due, you submit that report towards the end. Uh, you you make presentations. If there are any presentations due, then towards the end, when the day is closing, clients generally leaves by 6. We stay till 7:30. We come back, travel 1 hour back to home, and then again, if you start working on the pieces which are, so there are pieces which needs to be delivered then and there, and there are pieces which you work sort of which are running pieces. So you keep working on your running pieces, and then you end your day at around 10, 11, depending upon what is the urgency, what is the piece you're working on, if there are any calls, tasks that are due. And of course, this is the set plan. You would, anytime you can expect a mail from your PPL saying, get this done in an hour, couple of hours. You just have to juggle around your tasks. You have to push the meeting, reschedule the meetings, just get those things done and just send it across over to your PPL.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know what life at BCG looks like. And I would like to ask you, how different is it right now as a management consultant in terms of work challenges, growth, with respect to your previous role at ZS, which was basically after graduation?
So one thing that I can tell you, at ZS, the work was very well defined, what I need to do. Here in consulting, you deal with a lot of uncertainties because the work is very dynamic. Things just keep changing, and you have to align yourself with the work, right? Things just keep coming on your plate when you do not have visibility, right? So that is the first thing. Second thing is, there I did not used to interact with client as much. Interaction was there, but here I just work with them, like we sit together at the same desk and work parallelly. Sometimes I just take client's laptop and we work in that. So this closely we work with the clients. Third thing is that this involves just a lot of travel. In ZS, I just have to go to office, sit at my desk, do my report, submit, just give out my report. So ZS was more sort of an analyst kind of job. This is more sort of what I would say. I'm not finding the right word here. More of like a coordinator or manager kind of a job, wherein you are coordinating, you're working with several people, right? And just getting the job done. So you're responsible for a huge chunk, and those chunks just keep on changing.
All right. So this will be kind of a follow-up to that question, in fact, that we want to understand how the interview process in ZS and BCG was different for you.
All right. So ZS interviews are also case interviews, but they are sort of case study. Like you will have a couple of pages. So okay, let me start from the beginning. So you have resume shortlisting first. Then you have your case group discussion. Sort of they'll give you a case wherein you can just discuss with the people, do it, and then after that there is a case round, case study round, wherein the interviewer will ask you a question on the case study that you have submitted. You have to fill out, take pen and paper. You have to fill out the answer on pen and paper, and it'll get discussed. And the last round is with the partner, wherein it's just sort of an HR round, for lack of a better term, wherein they discuss just why do you want to join ZS and your strengths, weaknesses, what do you like, what don't you like. They just assess your personality overall, whether you'll just fit in ZS kind of work environment or not. In BCG, I've already told you it's purely case based, and case study and case are two different things. Someone asked me some of the resources. So if I would recommend that there is a series of Victor Cheng's 9 or 10 videos that are available on YouTube. You can get started from there. That should be the first thing you should do if you want to learn what a case interview looks like. And then there are public resources which are available, such as case books of IIM Ahmedabad, even SPJMR has it. You can just go on their link pages. You'll find those resources there. And the best way to practice and prepare for case is to do it in a group of 2 or 3, wherein one person is the interviewee, other one is the interviewer, and the third person is observer. So you just administer the case. The interviewer will administer the case, the interviewee will answer, and the observer will just take notes of what went well, what would have been done better for both the interviewer as well as interviewer. So this is how you practice cases.
Right. Thank you. I'm sure that will motivate everyone here to take this up, both because it'll be very different, the experience, as interviewing from a undergrad and then going forward and interviewing as a person with an MBA degree. So I'm sure this answer has showed them the difference that they need to prepare, and I'm sure they'll do a good job of it. Since we are running short of time, we'll just take up one question that we have collated from the Google form that we had sent to all our registered participants here. We just wanted to know, for an undergrad student, does consulting firms provide or offer internships? And if it does not come to campus, how do we try for an off-campus internship?
All right. So undergrad internships are very few, first of all. There's no set process of getting undergrad internship in consulting firms. And I'm talking about McKinsey, BCG being here. In ZS, there are internships, and you can simply apply either through a referral, if they come to your campus, maybe through your campus, or otherwise through your online resources, right? Maybe LinkedIn or something like that. BCG does not offer internship. Not that I'm not aware of if they do. They do not, to the best of my knowledge. They do not offer undergrad internships, and the process would be the same again. Like I said, they hire for associates at an associate level. They would expect They would expect you, and associate and senior associate work-wise, they work very similarly. There's not much of a difference in the work. So for application, you can just, I think referral would be the best way, because I'm not aware if there is a set process for applying for internship.
Okay.
And the referral has to come from a senior person, just to clarify it, maybe from a partner or PL, something like that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Somesh, for your input, and taking your time into consideration on a Saturday evening, and the time for all the registered participants here. We would not like to extend this session, and we would like to draw it to its conclusion. If anyone has any question, right? Before we move forward, the attendance link has been shared to you in the Zoom chat. Please fill this form. Please fill this form, and meanwhile, while you guys are filling this form, I would like to let you know that in case any of you have any consultancy issue, doubts, or anything that you want to talk, let's say you want to have a one-on-one personalized chat with Mr. Somesh here, you can very well contact him through our website, failtell.com. It's there in the Slack group that has been created for you people. And the Slack group is not only for these things. In the Slack group, you'll find placement materials. We'll give you job openings that we find in places. There will be resume making tips, motivational stories. All of it will be at one place. And we'll definitely try to make the Slack group as interactive and as engaging as possible for you people. In case if you have doubts related to consultancy, you can always contact us, Somesh sir, on our website. And yeah, we have already posted some of the materials like Victor Cheng, and we'll be posting a few more in due time. If all of us, while we are filling up the attendance link, if there is anyone, since we have, I guess, 5 more minutes for the session, if anyone wants to address Somesh sir for anything, I guess we can let that happen. You can you can just raise hands, and yeah, we'll ask you to unmute and say. So, sir, I guess there is one question from Shruti Jain. How do you keep up with your mental health along with such a busy schedule on a regular basis?
So honestly, Shruti, and I wouldn't lie to you, even I'm struggling to find answer to that question. I'm happy to get back to you when I do, but I think I know a theoretical answer. How much I'm able to implement it practically on myself is a different deal. But the theoretical answer here is that you just need to keep in touch with one or two hobbies that you're really passionate about. Because see, you need to build breaks for yourself in between. If you're able to do that, you'll be able to survive. You just need to know what is that one hobby that just is a stress buster for you, that just releases your stress, calms you down, and I think that will help. So far I'm not able to implement it for myself, but yes, let's see where it goes.
Yes, so maybe all of you can visit failtell.com, and we'll be taking care of your mental health from here on. Moving ahead, Adya, we will take this final question from Adya. Adya, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, Adya,
actually, I had a question. Like, I am right now an undergraduate, and I have decided that I want to go in consulting. So, how would you suggest me to move ahead with my profile?
Adya, have you decided what kind of consulting do you want to go to? Do you want to go to maybe a big four consulting, Deloitte, KPMG? Do you want to go to a company like ZS or Accenture, or do you want to join MBB? That is
So,
McKinsey
I
BCG.
want to join MBB, is what I am planning.
Right. Adya, you are currently in, sorry, which year? I missed that part out.
Fourth year.
Fourth year, right? So engineering. So Adya, I would say getting into consulting after undergrad is a bit difficult. The reason being that they visit very specific colleges to pick out. You can try by applying onto through LinkedIn resources. I'm not exactly sure whether I think BCG does not post, but there are other pages that post links of whether a position is open or not. But there's a slim chance that you will get picked up. And it's not just for you, it's for others as well, because generally at an undergrad level, they do not take. What I would recommend is that you should plan for an MBA. And if you do an MBA immediately after your undergrad, go ahead, prepare for CAT. If MBA from India is the option you want to go for, there's another option of MBA from abroad, in which case you have to take GMAT and apply for the universities which you will shortlist. Get a good percentile in CAT, pick up IIM ABC, and I'm sure since they put out maximum number of offers in IIM ABC, it just increases the probability of getting into consulting.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
And as far as the profile building part goes, once you have get yourself that brand of I am ABC, I think that in itself adds credibility to your profile, and you'll get to, since you're already in fourth year, I wouldn't uh, you're about to graduate. There isn't much left. There isn't much time left for you to do in college. So those 2 years will provide you opportunity to take up more leadership roles, build up just sort of polishing your profile.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Adya, for your question. We'll be taking the final question from Asutosh Sahu. Post this, we will be concluding the event. So if you have any other questions, we'll find some other means to take it on. Asutosh, you can ask your question now.
Good evening, Somesh sir.
Hi, Ash.
Am I audible?
Good evening. Yes, you are.
Sir, actually, I'm working as a software engineer in a reputed IT firm. But later down the line, I want to work in a management consulting firm. So before MBA, I would like to ask your suggestion. Like, do I need to shift into a ZS kind of company or any analytical role to get placed in management consulting firm in MBA college?
No. See, that was not the point that I made. ZS does help, but that does not mean that it's exclusive, right? There are people who have worked in software industries before who go into consulting. So your your past work-ex, pre-MBA work-ex, as I should position it, does matter, but it does not matter itna ki you're anyway going to do an MBA. And if you're going to do an MBA from India, I would say do not waste time switching up jobs to ZS or something like that. I would say just go ahead with the MBA. And thereon, you can figure out what are the skills you want to learn, what are the areas you want to work on, focus on that, and then try for consulting. If you build your profile in a way, if you build a stellar profile during that 1 year, I think there's a huge chance you'll get a shortlist, and then you can give your best shot at getting into MBA. So short, just summarizing my answer, no, I don't think so. You should switch your job. But if you are getting an opportunity, there's no harm in doing that as long as you like.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Ashutosh.
Thank you, Asutosh. So that brings us to an end to this presentation here, to this webinar. And I would like to thank Somesh Gupta profusely for giving us a chance to host him here on a Saturday afternoon. And we are looking forward to meet all of you here in a few weeks' time when we hold our analytics week. And we would also be celebrating that with another enriching webinar in that industry, that domain. Until then, we advise you to take care of your health, to take care of your mental health, physical health, to keep moving ahead in life, and to, as the presentation says, to stay hungry and to stay foolish.
Thank you so much, Aditya, Radha and team for inviting me, and thank you all of you for joining. I hope I was able to provide some insight into a life of a consultant, and all the very best for your future.